Welcome back to Breakfast Extra, and still talking about some of our big stories. We're slowly gearing up to the final hour. In a dramatic move yesterday evening, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu sacked and replaced all the top service chiefs of the Nigerian Armed Forces, including the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chiefs of Army, Air and Naval Staff. Now, according to the official statement, these changes are part of an effort to strengthen Nigeria's national security architecture. However, the timing is raising eyebrows, and the reshuffle comes weeks after reports emerged of around 16 senior military officers being arrested for allegedly plotting a coup against the government, a claim that the military officially denies.
Now, the opposition and many observers are now demanding clarity. The African Democratic Congress has called on the president to tell Nigerians the real reason behind the sudden and wholesale change. So this morning, we will unpack the questions that matter. Was this purely a security-driven decision aimed at tackling insurgency, banditry, and separatist violence, or is it a sign of deeper unrest within the military and a government seeking to show up its position ahead of 2027? And also, what does these shakeups mean for Nigeria's democracy, stability, and chain of command? Joining us for this conversation, this discussion, are Chidi Omeje, publisher, Security Digest, and Roy Okidieve, who's a National Secretary, retired members of Nigerian Armed Forces. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now, let's begin with you, Chidi. This came as a sudden but decisive move by the president, even though he did say that it is routine and, all service chiefs were out, new ones in. From your observation and experience covering Nigeria's security sector, what do you think prompted this sweeping shakeup?
Usually, anytime you see this kind of shakeup, people usually come up with all manner of permutations, and of course, some even go as far as even some conspiracy theories. But like we all know, this is just part of part of military thing. No post remains eternal, and they're not elected, so their tenure is not guaranteed. So if the president, in his wisdom, consider the fact that he wants to, maybe, have a change in, have fresh ideas and fresh perspectives in the entire, defense architecture, and nothing stops him from doing that. So, but then again, you can understand those who try to put two and two together to form one conspiracy theory or the other, probably because of the recent happenings. Some of the rumors that that are going around, people begin to link one or two things together. So these are the issues. But ordinarily, these guys have already served up to 2 years, and I think that 2 years is just enough for any military commander or service chief to stamp his feet and make a statement in his position. So to me, it's not unusual, but naturally, Nigerians, are given to this kind of speculations, theories, conspiracy theories, and conjectures. So it's something that we are used to.
I'll come to you now, Dr. Roy. Now, as someone with deep roots in the military establishment, what does this kind of shake-up mean for Nigeria at the moment?
Well, thank you very much, and with all due respect to my co-guest and the co-host, how many years now? Let's look like 20 years. And we have been saying the same thing. Now, the military is not like any other institution. The military has a cultural bias against every other institution. It is a conglomerate of persons that have citizenry of a country and lay down their lives for that country. This is a group of people that you can blow the whistle, they will go and arm themselves and engage. no matter what the rules of engagement is, whether it's favorable to them or not, they engage. This is a set of people that they must increase and maintain a high morale at all times, because they need that high morale to be able to engage. These are a set of people that need to maintain a cultural balance, a tradition that will encourage loyalty to hierarchy. Now, every time we see politicians just jump into the military and just shake everywhere, you know, and it brings a lot of disgruntlement, and it encourages disloyalty, and people start to sectionalize. So I think that the president has the right to say, okay, I need to re-strategize my security and all whatnot. But against changing chiefs and removing heads of military commands, there are major things that are being neglected. And just like you want to make your food and you don't have a heater, you don't have a stove, a gas, hello, major foundational defects that we expect this presidency to have addressed, major issues that have been tabled to this presidency that have not been addressed, even exiting presidencies and current presidencies. And we fear that other presidencies coming into the establishment of the democratic leadership of Nigeria will not see this defect if we don't hammer it home every time. Thank you.
Very valid points you've made there, Doctor. Now, coming back to you, Chidi, this particular change, you know, we all know follows reports, though officially denied, and that's why we say it's alleged, of a possible coup plot, you know, involving 16 senior officers. Do you see any connection between these rumors and the president's decision to overhaul the service chiefs?
Of course, you know that when the rumor came up, you know, the military authorities, by the DHQ, for instance, denied it flatly, said that nothing like that, you know, and stuff. And the government has not come out to expressly confirm the story. So as it is now, we're just working on the speculations in the media. So I don't know. Coup is a very secretive, you know, enterprise, and you know it's difficult for me and you to, you know, from our sideline to actually confirm that something like that had happened. So if DHQ says there was no coup and the federal government has not confirmed that, yet the rumor persists. But then now it's left for you and I to make our own deductions. But then again, you could see that the timing of this change, it is what eliciting this, you know, connection. People begin to, you know, think, oh, wait a minute, why all of a sudden these guys have been changed? Those are the time when we are hearing about rumors of coup, then there's this change. So people are bound, and indeed you have to be fair to them if they begin to make such, begin to connect dots to that extent. But a little bit back to what my colleague said. To me, I do not think that there is anything very, you know, very, very unusual when service chiefs who have spent up to 2 years have been removed. If they have been removed, essentially when you know that the security challenges are selling the country is still as formidable as ever. So there's need, actually, if the president considers so, there's the need for fresh ideas, fresh perspectives. And I don't think that those that were changed, must be given advanced time to say, okay, gentlemen, prepare in the next 3 months or next 4 months, we'll change you. It has never happened like that. We know that even in the past, so there are some service chiefs. I remember when Dambaza was chief of minister, I think he was even outside the country when he was changed. So I think this is just the nature of the job, and Nigerians have gotten used to it, even if it is not conventional or other places. But the important thing is that, as far as Nigerians are concerned, whatever will give impetus to, what will give us what we want in terms of results, if that will stabilize the country, that will reduce the tension in the land, whatever can bring respite to the people who have been under, severe violent attacks across the country, northeast where we have terrorism, northwest where we have banditry, and elsewhere where we have these serious security challenges. So anything, if any fresh ideas to give us the needed respite is welcome by Nigerians, as far as I'm concerned. So I do not remember that when Buratai and co were there, the former president allowed them to run up to 6 years. And that disrupted so many things in the system, so that people's career in the military were jeopardized because of such, unnecessarily long tenure. So if these guys have been eased off, probably to bring in fresh ideas, by all means, is welcome by me. So that's why I see it. But back to the question, I think that Nigerians are actually, you have to be fair to Nigerians if they decide to collect dots to say, the witchcraft last night and the child died this morning. There was a coup rumor the other day, and today these guys have been removed. Maybe there's a nexus. I don't know, but like I said, it's just within media conjecture. Yeah.
I'd like to direct the same question to you, Dr. Roy. Do you think that this alleged coup plot is in any way connected to this sudden shake-up amongst service chiefs?
Well, there are some level of restrictions when you want to talk about a coup d'etat speculation. Now, let's first of all look at the structure that gives the enablement. Let's look at the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Was there any changes in the normal parade? Let's look at the other countries in Africa that are operating military junta leadership, and how they were formidable against the ECOWAS and the AU, and they stood all the harassment, and they succeeded and survived. And now they are tackling Western nations, talking against them, booting them out of their country. And don't you think this will be attractive to other democratic African countries? Let's talk about the United Nations, which is the home of accountability to all nations, which can come up tomorrow and say, other nations of the Western world, move to Nigeria and kick out that military junta there. What has the United Nations been able to achieve since, especially after the COVID and during that COVID? All its wings were chopped off. The issue going up between NATO, Ukraine, and Russia right now, you have seen how it's going. Even Britain now, the whole of the UK are running into Brexit, and power sharing is reducing globally. So what do you think will intimidate any military officer that want to plan a coup d'etat in Nigeria, apart from internal control and restriction? So right now, every African nation has attractiveness towards trying that angle to help themselves, because definitely there are smaller nations that are existing now, and the Western world could not neutralize the junta there. Let's move forward. Now, if you look at the possibilities of a coup d'etat in Nigeria, you will agree with me that most times the number of people you need to plan a coup d'etat is just a few crop of officers. You don't really need the whole army, because command and control can carry over any kind of deterrence. Now, if you look at the military officers that have been called on board and the ones that have been asked to leave, there is no arrest for military officers that we have a list right now. That's why I'm telling you guys that we should hold on this discussion of coup or no coup and really look at why these officers were changed and why we have not been able to neutralize this vulnerability of terrorism that is plaguing the country right now, which the military has been pushed forward as the only mandate that can exterminate terrorism. And that was wrong, because it is not the military that should exterminate terrorism. There are whole gamut of lines of responsibility to other security agencies that have not been exploited.
Dr. Roy, you just said that it's not the military's major job now to tackle terrorism. Other security agencies should also be, in line with things as regards fighting terrorism. Can you be more specific as to which other security agencies should be fighting terrorism?
Thank you very much. I get pained when I hear that people die and daily communities are routed by ragtag non-state actors that carry weapons. When I was serving, we had some officers then that when they say let's go, we go. We don't listen. There is no phone call. There's no phone unless you go to the one you used NITEL and stuff. So there is this specific capacity that the Nigerian military has. If it is external, we come back with medals. If it is internal, if the police are withdrawing, military is coming, everybody runs away. Because no story, we don't come back with any pictures, we don't come back with any story. Now, if you see terrorism fledgling in Nigeria, there are institutions that are supposed to chop the wings. Number one thing a terrorist needs is to recruit people. Number two, the terrorist needs space for training. And Nigeria now, we call it unpoliced area. Why is the place unpoliced? When people are living there and they are paying taxes. They are paying taxes and they are within the territorial integrity of the country. Why are citizens not employed en masse into the police and increase the number of policing per citizen, per kilometer, per community? Why not? Why not take that as a mandate? Because the monies that are supposed to go into that will definitely have to come out from the monies that are being diverted. Now let's look at the financial sector. Terrorists need to move money. They do money laundering, they do cash movement, and they need finances. Sometimes they go into kidnapping to also raise finances. Now, the financial system in Nigeria that I know, I have paid money into one of my driver's accounts. The account was blocked because he has not had that kind of money in his account before. But today, people move money from accounts and nothing constrains that illegality. Let's look at the mineral resources in Nigeria. Everywhere mineral resources are deployed in Nigeria, why is it that there's always crisis and unconstitutionality in those areas? Look at Zamfara, look at everywhere where you have mineral resources. And these terrorists, they need those kind of conflict-prone areas to increase recruitment. Let's look at the National Orientation Agency. What level of orientation do you think they have been doing to remove the radicalization, the opportunities for these people. Let's look at the DSS. The DSS is supposed to be a ghost in everywhere in Nigeria. The same DSS are not able to unplug cells that terrorists are building around. You can't, you look at the correctional center. Immediately terrorist suspects are arrested with ammunition, with evidence, with flags of terrorism. They are taken into correctional centers and they are separated into a de-radicalization process that they said will be recycling them repentant personnel. Yeah. Where are the ones that were not repentant? Were they eliminated for murder, for killing, taking lives? Did the Constitution strangulate them with penalties? Let's forward again, go to the NDLEA is just too much. Right now, if NDLEA is doing a silent drill, killing and hitting the nail on the head. Forget the NDLEA, go to the customs, where people must move things by water, by air, by land. What is the capability of the customs to sincerely, faithfully, loyally, and patriotic attack illegality and movement of things? You move to immigration. Now, this our new Minister of Interior is doing a lot to rejig some of the processes there. How many people has NIN that are purely citizens of Nigeria? What is the process to attack people that are not and live in Nigeria, do businesses, open accounts, get CAC, and they are not critically scrutinized? So these are all the places that terrorists can penetrate and begin to hold ground, raise flags, collect taxes. Government is collecting taxes. So you cannot tell me that it is the military, the military, the military. And I said no. Before the guys get strengthened, we have institutions that can continue to weaken their opportunities. They are not doing their job.
Okay, now you've actually spoken, very, very well. But let's hear from Chidi as well, because we know that beyond politics, Nigeria is still battling multiple security fronts, insurgency, banditry, separatist violence as well. Chidi, what should these new service chiefs prioritize to restore public confidence in the military's effectiveness?
And just before I take that question, I need to add to what my colleague had said, rightly pointed out, because each time you run what we call root cause analysis of this persistent insecurity in the country, you get to see all these factors he laid down. But the chief, what is at the heart of what this is mentioned, is bad governance. Because bad governance is what give rise to some of these lacuna he has just outlined. So if you have a government that really understands the intricacies of security issues, they will be able to take care of some of those things he has mentioned. And then back to the question you asked, I think that the good thing about these new service chiefs is that most of them, especially let's say, for instance, the new chief of army staff, he is in the thick of things. He just, I think he just finished a tour of duty as the commander of the operation Hadin Kai at a point. So, meaning that he has been in the theaters, he understands exactly the enormity of the challenges. And then of course, as a whole, the service chiefs will understand that the country is assailed from north to east to west to south. They understand that terrorism is here, banditry is rife, secession agitation, and all manner of things are there in the east. Then the attacks on a maritime asset is life and thriving. So they understand that issues are there and that Nigerians need respite. And so that's why I spoke about, probably the need for, new ideas, fresh perspective, new initiatives, that they might come with. Not that they are not already part of the system, but being in the driver's seat now, they should be able to bring to bear those expressions they've had in the past to deal with the situation. But then again, I want them not to work in silos. I'd like to see a robust, synergy between and among military, security, intelligence, and response agencies in the country. I want to see a situation where the ground troops and the air power are able to work, seamlessly, such that these ground troops will not be stranded at any point, and they will not have any air cover. I want to see a situation where you see special forces from the Navy and special forces from the Air Force helping out when issues are there in any theater. I want to see a situation where you don't have, even in terms of information management, Nigerians are tired of seeing spokespersons speaking at cross purposes. I'd like them to work in collaboration, in synergy, so that they have to speak in one voice, so that they can, they will not confuse Nigerians and embarrass the government. So when all these things are sort of synergy established, you'll see that the results will be coming out. Yes, another thing again that we need to speak about, that these new chiefs must understand that they should prioritize welfare of troops, because troops are the ones who do the job, as a matter of fact. So if you do not take care of them, if you do not motivate them, if their morale is not high, you can't get the result. The new chief of defense staff, who was just immediate past chief of army staff, he came up with what he called soldier first principle or concept. What he meant was that the soldier is the fulcrum, in fact, is the thing about the Nigerian army. That if you don't take care of the soldier, then you have not started at all, because it's the soldier that do the job. So I like that policy to continue. I like to see the new army chief go, doing more in that regard, because I want to see our soldiers going out there in the field, well motivated, with a good equipment, because if you provide them with the appropriate equipment they need, that's part of the welfare I'm talking about. Because if you give them the right tools to work with, they will give you optimal results. I want to see, such level of motivation for our troops, so that not just right there in the field, but even as you have to do with their family members. I'd like to see a family of the soldiers having that confidence that even if anything happens to their breadwinner, that they will not be thrown out of barracks just like that, or that even surveillance package will not be there, and their pensions and all those things. People tell stories about them. So if we straighten all those things, and it's not difficult to do, it's just a matter of having that sense of duty, having that at the back of your mind that you can't get the best of results if the troops are not taken care of. So the third thing again is I need them to work well with the media, my own constituency, because the media, they want to call war of narratives, and the media is of course is a very big instrument in that regard. If you are able to cultivate the respect, the collaboration, the partnership, and the support of the media, it goes a long way. Because most times, one of the challenges we actually face is issue of confidentiality. Everything they will say is confidence, restricted. You don't want to release information. What do you expect the media man to do? He has the responsibility to inform the public. So if you keep losing time,
because we're pressed for time. I don't know if you can hear me. Mr. Chidi, can you hear me, please?
These are the issues put together. Yeah, are you there?
Mr. Chidi, can you hear me? All right, what I want to ask is, because you mentioned it now, when we look at the new set of the service chiefs, majority of them are new, but for the now Chief of Defense Staff, that's I'm talking about Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, who used to be the Chief of Army Staff. Now that he is the Chief of Defense Staff, do you think that he might be more effective in that position or in this position? Does it change anything?
You say that most of them are new. They're not new. I mean,
I'm talking about as service chiefs now. That's what I mean. I said majority of them are, aside the now Chief of Defense Staff.
Okay, fine. It will not be a new thing to him. It is the commander. He has always been in that, sort of level. So being good enough is coming from the position as Chief of Army Staff to now occupy Chief of Defense Staff. So he has adequate knowledge of what is called out for him to do. So for me, it's even a better way to prepare him. because he's already in the system. He knows exactly the challenges out there in the theaters. So he knows exactly that, he knows how to go about his command duties. So to me, it's an added advantage for him, having had that robust experience as the Chief of Army Staff. So it will be easy for him to actually do the job better than those who is coming, from a different background without such experience. So to me, it is it's a good advantage for him. That's what I think.
All right, now let's quickly come to you, Dr. Gidive. Looking at the broader picture, do you see this as a positive reset for national security, or could it further unsettle an already fragile relationship that's between the military and civilian authority?
Thank you very much. Let me first say this, that when the former chief of staffs were brought in, including this CDS, and the Inspector General of Police also was brought in, I said it. I said they cannot achieve anything. See, we are only going around in circles. And at the end of the day, you will now hear, it is not a problem of this regime. These are things that were brought from the other tenure. It is not, see, these chief of army staffs, they are not magicians. They are not going to be interfacing with terrorism in the terrorist enclave. They will be giving instructions to human beings who are Nigerians. Let me first take you quietly to Oshodi. There is a place we call Oshodi, Resettlement Center, where soldiers that are disengaging from service are taken there to learn trade, and at this era that we are, somebody disengaging from service of 35 years is being taught carpentry and other things. Then they said there is a starter pack that they will pay to you. As I speak to you now, there is controversy on where is our starter pack. Some don't even know the amount. So this discrepancy in the management of the personnel has dilapidated their loyalty, followership, and patriotism. You see, Nigeria has the highest level of patriotic military personnel in the world. Go and check. Just take Nigerian troops outside, see what they achieve. Now, look forward to the judiciary. These chiefs, they need to go to the judiciary. They need to sit down with the Minister of Justice and all the chief judge of the Federation and say, how can you expedite penalties, actually giving these people the penalty of what they commit when we bring them to you? Because you know how demoralizing it is when I know one bagger that brought down my guys and he's wearing a cloak, they say he's being de-radicalized. Do you know? And do you know that beyond the judiciary that is already handicapped, there is this fear of international prognosing, because we want to get loan from abroad, we want to get equipment from abroad. You remember the Tucano will not give you. Till today, the almighty Tucano came. I'm not seeing the effect. Now, let's look at the human rights abuse claims. Will that also not estrange performance from the men? Let's go forward again and say, what level of interactive alliances does the agencies in Nigeria have? Where is the collaboration, exchange of intelligence? Now, continuity is also perfected in instruction and constitution. So all the army policy, the military, the navy, and the air force, where is the continuity on some areas that you will tell the incoming, don't touch this place, it is materializing. Because any new person that comes, everybody will say rejig. The name has become like a name of a pet. Let's rejig the security. And they will find financing opportunities for themselves. Those officers that are leaving now, do you think they will go through military pension board and be taking those peanuts and be waiting for one payment or the other? They have to settle themselves, because the exit plan is already truncated to achieve the comfort and stability that I will envisage, so that I will not be derailing in my discipline and integrity. So there is a big problem. They are not going to achieve anything. We are still going around. After they maybe calm the thing down, they will go and negotiate. Later, the bandits will come and negotiate. Later, you will hear a whole community, 30, 100 people are killed. A bandit is releasing abductees now. Go and check the number in the territorial integrity of Nigeria. And we are saying we are fighting terrorism. We are fighting ourselves. We are not ready.
Dr. Roy, let me ask you, the position, of course, says that Nigeria deserves a transparency on why these sackings happened. Do you think the presidency owes Nigerians that?
Let me say this. Military or security intervention, you hear things like national security interest. And when it comes to national security interest, it's a need to know basis. It's not everything that you should know. As I'm sitting here now, there are things that I know when I was in service. So many veterans, it will die with us. We cannot exchange it, even if we were not paid the bandwidth allowance in bulk. We cannot exchange such information. Now, what is going on in the military, if there is something going on, it cannot come to the public the way the public wants it. It's not two musicians having issue. It's not in the educational sector. It's not in the hospitality, tourism industry. No, this is the military. There are things there that cannot come out. And if the government think that certain levels of information is necessary to create a balance to the public, I think that will be released to the public.
All right. Well, I think with that, we've actually wrapped up the conversation. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time and for speaking to us on this.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you as well.